Hello and welcome to the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network. I am your host, the Warrior of Hype, Daniel, alongside the Fire Fighter, Vinny. Today is a special day as we have cast members from the recently released intermission DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Damon Mills, Sean Chiplock, David Goldstein, and Daniel Ammerman. Thank you so much for being a part of this interview. I hope you enjoy your time here on Final Fan TV and just have fun with it. All right. So how is everyone feeling today?
Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread. We'll start with the top right of your screen, and that is Sean Chiplock. How you doing, Sean?
Jesus. All right. Well, it was nice. I'm glad everyone else had a chance to speak. No, I'm doing okay. It's been a really exciting week. You know, I as I told you guys before the show, I've been talking extensive Metroid with a friend of mine who clued me into the entire franchise and the plot line. So now I have gone from no knowledge whatsoever to fully prepared. And now I just need someone to do the same for me with Final Fantasy. So I'll be ready for when part 2 of Remake comes out.
Well, you're on the right channel, Sean. This is Final Fan TV. Just watch all of our videos, all of our content on YouTube, and you'll be ready to go.
Like the plug.
All right, so we'll go over to the bottom left, and that is Damon Mills. Damon, how are you doing today?
What's up, guys? I'm good. Just chilling, hanging out on this beautiful Saturday. It is afternoon now. I thought it was still morning. Hi. Happy to be here. I love Final Fantasy VII. I love Final Fantasy, and I'm just happy to be involved and here and present. And yeah, hi.
We are happy to have you present as well. Down in the middle bottom of your screen, that is David Goldstein. Playing.
Hey guys, how are you?
I should have said who you guys play, but Billy Bob, what's up, David?
How you doing? Glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this, David. And then in the bottom right, that is Daniel Ammerman. What's up, Daniel?
What's up, man? Hey, very glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I had sort of like a a very visceral reaction when you said, just have fun with it, because that's the direction. That's what directors say when everything's going terribly. that's the direction they're like. And for this next one, we've done a bunch of takes and they're good, but this next one, like, have fun with it, means that, like, you really seem like you're having a terrible time. So
it means like, everybody loosen up and like,
yeah.
I'm great.
That wasn't my intention. You guys are great. No, just have fun with it.
Just have fun with this next one. This one's for you. This one's for you.
I'm like, in one more time, just smooth that out.
Yeah.
All right, so if you guys don't mind, we're gonna get ready right into the questions. I'm gonna start with David Goldstein. You play Billy Bob, first of all, but this is one of your first video game gigs, along with being a shopkeeper in the Genshin Impact, another very successful RPG. Granted, with Final Fantasy VII Remake, all eyes are on you, right? So, and Billy Bob is not only just a new character introduced in the world of Final Fantasy VII, but his name is odd. So
yeah,
I feel like more attention was brought to your name just because Billy Bob is the name.
Yeah, and I this is obviously not to disparage, and like I don't know why they chose it. I don't know if it's common that the names that they chose for the characters are like these beautiful, flowing Japanese-inspired names, and then they throw out, Chad or Brett. Billy Bob. I've been gaming for a long time. I'm an old man. I have never come across a Billy Bob in a video game. I'm honored if I am the first. I'm honored to take that mantle, and I hope I did the name Billy Bob well.
I think you did. You might be the first Billy Bob video game character. I have to look that up. But can you tell me how you were feeling when you got the role and you did the job versus how you were feeling once the cast was revealed and then fans became involved?
Well, obviously, when you get the role, these other three guys are probably used to it by now. But for me, it was one of the first yeses I've gotten, and anyone who's in this business will tell you it's a you hear no 99% of the time. So I was ecstatic that I got it. I was like, I don't even remember the recording process. I was so like flying high to do it, and trying to also be professional and get the job done. But on the other hand, that small thing in the back of your mind, like, holy crap, I'm actually getting to record this. And then I didn't think about it again. And this was in October of 2019. And then I just put it on my mind and didn't know when it was coming out. Didn't even know exactly what format this was going to. Is this going to be for the sequel? Is this? We didn't really know.
Yeah.
And then one morning, I'm starting to get Twitter notifications that people are talking about my account, which doesn't happen. And then I did a little research and saw, oh wait, press release came out that announced the cast that I didn't even know they were going to do that. I don't know. These guys can tell you more if that's more common with games, but I didn't know that was a thing. And so all of a sudden, I'm calling my friends saying, "Hey, my name's on all these nerd sites. It's awesome." Like and I've said this before, but a couple of days before that, a character I was supposed to do for a game got eliminated. And so I basically lost out on a job, and I was really, really down. And so when this happened, when the announcement came out, it kind of saved my week and reinvigorated me.
That's really cool.
That is
The
really cool.
old BTVA discoverer. You're like, wait a minute, why am I trending at 7th place this week? Oh, that's
Funny.
why.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. Is I eventually made my way to that site just from Google, and it was a different David Goldstein.
Oh no.
There is a different game.
There is a different David Goldstein. He's got like 4 or 5 credits, and it was his picture and all of his credits, and then Final Fantasy. He's like, wait, well, hold on.
Oh
So
no! Oh,
it's fine.
You gotta correct them.
I think I did, but it's a process. Like you have to go to the forums, and you have to. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but
Sure.
it's fine.
But well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's
Sure.
and you said 2019. Is that's
It was 2020. It was
Was
last.
it 2020? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's
They're
okay.
all-
I was just
these last 2
oh,
years have all blended, guys.
Yeah.
I was like, they must have been really thinking about this.
No,
Yeah.
this was just like late last year.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. That's
Sure.
an incredible story. And so we're gonna go over to Daniel Ammerman. First of all, your demo reel on Daniel Ammerman, daniel-ammerman.com. I encourage everyone to go check it out. You showcase this wide range of excellent work, from Arrested Development to being on The Office to theater performances to a Super Bowl commercial to voicing Ezreal in League of Legends. All of this under your literal black belt. So shout out to your featured singing demo being the Pokemon theme song. Like you have like all of this amazing work, and then you're singing. It was a beautiful voice. It sounded great.
Thank
and
you.
it was the Pokemon theme song. So shout out to that.
Thank you. I've done that song in a lot of auditions for just like regular musical theater stuff, and it always takes everyone by surprise, but it goes over well because they're expecting to hear like Les Mis or I don't know, some sort of like more traditional, or even if you're going to do like a pop musical theater, it would be like Spring Awakening or something. So when you then do any sort of goofy song choice that still shows off your voice is a fun curveball for an audition scenario.
It's universal, and you know, like, and you know, people are going to listen to the entire thing. Like, you know, it was really good too.
Thanks, man.
So shout out to that. And then, so now you voice Polk in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Was this experience different from anything you've done before in terms of like the secrecy leading up to the announcement of the cast, as David touched on a little bit? You know, they make the announcement like a press release, and of course fan expectations for being a new character within the world.
I think, well, the first thing that was different about it was that we recorded during the COVID quarantine, and we recorded in person in studios. So almost like a lot of people who are voice actors professionally may have some sort of home studio setup. Like that's what I'm in now. So you can see kind of there's like foam on my walls and stuff like that. And that allows you to do a lot of jobs just from home. But with bigger properties, they usually will rent studio space where you can then get brought in, and there's directors and people from the marketing department, and there's like a whole bunch of people that you'll interact with. But all of that got shut down during quarantine, obviously. Yeah. Except we were far enough along in the kind of quarantine process that they were like just ready to start having like one voice actor in an entire studio. So this was like the first job back in an in-person setting that I had done for like, I don't know, 8 months or something like that. So that was definitely unique and memorable. Yeah. And then in terms of like waiting, like similar to what David said, once you do the job, you don't know when it's going to come out, you don't really know what's happening with it, so you kind of just move on and go back to auditioning and doing other things that come up. And then it was a similar thing where I wasn't expecting to be in the press release or to be really involved in that way, and all of a sudden I started having a couple of voice actor friends like texting me being like, hey, like, I think you should tweet about this. Because like I was just like not really aware what was happening. I was like, oh, okay. And then it's been cool to just have like, to, you know, anytime you're involved in a pre-existing property that has a fan base already part of it, it's very cool because your friends who are either in the acting world or maybe even not in the acting world, who are fans of the thing, can reach out to you and be like, wow, that's so neat that you're in this thing that I know about. Because most of the time I'm acting in things my friends, you know, they don't, if I'm in like a I don't know, Burger King commercial or something, they're not like, wow, I'm such a fan. Whereas, like, so this is like a nice treat. This is like a nice treat that that friends can be excited and that people on the internet, you know, can reach out and say that they're happy about it. And so, all that's been really cool to see that come through.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, this is Final Fantasy 7. I imagine when the cast was revealed, like you like David brought up, just the influx of like, you know, these theory videos. Did you ever see any of those floating around where like your name or your picture on YouTube of your character or something, and like did you see any of those, like,
no,
who is Polk or something like that?
No, I saw some tweets that were just like they, you know, the names came out in that press release and stuff like that, and so I saw a couple of tweets being like buzzing about it, but I didn't see any fan theory videos. So that would be cool. I should look that up because all that stuff I'm sure is still out there.
Sure they're out there for sure. Yeah. Especially Billy Bob. I'm sure people had some wild theories about Billy Bob.
I didn't see any like what is the deep meaning significance of Billy Bob. What I did see is when Square posted all our individual characters, because I'm a narcissist, I checked mine, and the whole thing was about the name and the fact that he looked like Axl Rose.
Like it looked like Axl Rose.
So,
laid back. He's known to throw some back at a bar or something.
Yeah. Maybe slide across stage and sing some Chinese Democracy. Yeah, you know, the usual.
Spoilers for Remake. That happened. No, I'm just kidding. No, so we're going to go over to Sean Chiplock. You have voiced many characters in popular video games, such as Rivali and the Great Deku Tree from Breath of the Wild. So another very cool project worth mentioning is Megaton Girl by Austin Matthews, the VA for Roach, where you played Dr. Menace. And speaking of menacing, the fight against Nero is chilling.
I knew he was gonna be a fight. I didn't know he was gonna be the big fight, a big fight of the Intergrade. So that came as a surprise. I really hope that people enjoy their time if they've already gotten that far. But whew, okay.
And you're obviously brought to life by your brilliant performance, accompanied by this dark, ominous score. And it's just, it became one of my...
I watched that fight, and let me tell you, it is the most beautifully stunning thing that I would have no goddamn idea what was happening. Like, I tried watching a playthrough of it, and I'm like, where did they see the damage numbers? How do they know how much health he has? Like, this is so pretty. I can't do this. No.
Yeah, it is. And then, like, of course, I mean, like that music that plays is just, I have my headphones on and I'm playing, and it just makes you feel just very tense. And I thought they did just a great job. And of course, this is accompanied by your voice, where you give this performance where it's like, it just, you can tell, like, almost unstable, and it's one of my favorite moments in intermission. So I guess my question for you would be, like, what's it like in the booth recording lines for a character like Nero, and how did you prepare?
So it's very interesting that you bring up the fact that he sounds unstable, because Nero I would actually consider to be one of the more challenging roles that I've had to portray in my career thus far. I remember being directed by Kirk Thornton, who's an incredible man. He's so good when it comes to finding nuance in his performances. And I distinctly remember that we were trying to lean away from a campiness in that exaggeration. So, you know, yes, Nero embraces the darkness. He's possessed by this otherworldly power. He's very almost obsessively involved with his brother, but he's not crazy. Like Nero is not closer to the Joker than you would think he's closer to, say, the Riddler or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And it was very, I don't want to say it was difficult, but it was a good challenge to try and find this balance of, all right, we want him to sound off kilter. We want him to sound, you know, ethereal, like he's impossible to understand, but we don't want to make him sound insane, if that makes any sense. And it was something that took me a while to get used to because, you know, my only other reference point was Dirge of Cerberus, where he was a little bit more leaning towards the crazy side. So it might not have been the best reference point. So I had to rely on Kirk a lot to kind of guide me on how much was too much and where less was more. And so it was, I found myself going into sort of a work mode there. You know, there's times where I clock into the character right away and we're just all having fun. We're messing around. And then there's times where I really have to kind of like become the professional for a while and like listen to what's being said to me, listen to what's happening in the scene, you know, really think about what the character's motivations are and why they're acting the way they do. And just kind of not be myself for a while and let them speak and just be prepared to hear stuff that me, Sean Chiplock, might go, I don't like how that sounds, but for the character is completely fitting to their attitude. So that's kind of the headspace I had to have with Nero's. I had to be willing to do things that I normally would not have immediately gone for, and just trust that in the context of the scene, it was going to sound better overall for the character.
Well said. Nailed it too, by the way. Just
at the end of the day, I'm just very grateful that was the end result.
Yeah, and it was, and like you, man, after you explain it like that, you can really tell in the performance. Just he's unstable but focused, right?
Yes.
Like unstable but focused. Like he's got to do his brother's will. Right?
I've told people that his intimidation comes from the fact that he is so committed to his mission. And it's just like I equate him to those villains where, you know, you throw some world-ending blast at them, the dust clears and nothing has happened to them, and they just kind of give that DreamWorks smirk. And it's like when they say, oh, that's cute, that, you know, the fact that they're not concerned is why you should be concerned.
Yeah, so. The Luke moment where you're just
right. There you go. Yes, exactly.
Just oh man, awesome. Well, thank you for that, Damon.
Hi.
Okay, look, Damon, what an amazing list of popular media that you have been a part of, including Dragon Ball Super as Frieza, and another Final Fantasy, Brave Exvius, in which you play the main character Rain. From what I gather on your social media, and we talked about it a little bit before, you're a very big fan of Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
And so just like the rest of us, you have been anticipating Final Fantasy VII Remake. I take it you've battled yourself.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I've seen clips because that's a hugely hard fight. So I haven't gotten there yet. My cat's gonna scream for a minute, so you'll probably hear him.
Okay.
One moment. I'm gonna actually grab him so because he's
okay. No problem. Now, actually,
having trouble with the boss fight. He needs you to take over for him.
He's like, yeah.
This is bullcrap. I was supposed to dodge that.
Well, that was kind of me when I was fighting Weiss. Oh my god, I had just defeated Weiss the other day. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, and he had, and I'm not even exaggerating. You, Damon, had a pixel of health left after my stagger onslaught, right? Like I just unleashed all my attacks when you were staggered. I'm going to refer to you as if you are Weiss, and I destroyed you, man. You had a pixel left, and you weren't taking damage because once you're out of stagger, man, you just don't take any damage, and you just had this pixel. And I'm hanging on. I'm getting desperate as you killed Tifa, you killed Barrett, and I'm like, what do I do here? And because I got greedy. But anyways, I mean, I'm trying to dodge and parry your stabs, and you know, and it just it was it finally.
Strangled and slaughtered, man.
Dad walks in. Are you winning, Daniel?
This, yeah, y'all, I love Final Fantasy. So it has been like, not gonna lie, this and Dragon Ball Z were two things that got me into voice acting. So when I started, gosh, I was like 16, I think. I was just like, oh gosh, I really love like these things. That would be really cool to like do anything, even just small in it someday. And then for this, like I never completed the original 7, but I know the story. I think my original introduction was Advent Children, and then I kind of gone back and like I've played Crisis Core and like I've done that, and I played through FF7R early COVID. Like I got it when everybody else did. I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this game. Played through it, and I gotta say, even just unbiased now, it is one of my favorite games I've ever played. Like it's just beautiful from start to finish. The amount of detail and character development that they've had in this and they've expanded upon is just I just can't even find words for it because it's so awesome. And I love the performances in it. Everybody is so good. From like, I know they've recast everybody, but I really truly love like Cody Christian and Brianna White and everybody. They've just done such a marvelous job. And then I actually moved. I was living in Texas up until last year. I actually was planning to move, but then COVID happened. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just continue my move and it's fine. I hope I don't die on my trip here. Right? Right. So I moved. I had gotten an agent out here, and I had gotten an audition for, I don't remember. I think it was Sonon or whatever, but I was like, okay, that's not work. That needs to be Asian represented. So I waited, and then I think there was an audition for Billy Bob. I think I skipped, or I did that, and then I didn't hear anything. Then Weiss came through, and I was like, I know this character. I am going to try everything I can. And then I didn't hear anything. Well, I did a callback. Like 2 weeks later. This was like June, July. Yep. This was like a while ago. And then I waited until October. I didn't hear anything for like 3 months. I was like, okay, I didn't get it, And then they're like, would you be willing to come into the studio? And I just sobbed in my car.
Those roles that you mentioned were like, you're like, I know this character, I know this franchise. Those are the best and the worst, because on the one hand, you feel so prepared for your audition. You send it off. You're like, this is the best I could do for this character, and I am completely proud. But then as soon as that's over, you get the flip side, which is, what if it wasn't good enough?
Right, like, exactly.
Wait.
And usually for auditions, I try to just do it and forget.
But no, not happening.
Not for Final Fantasy VII.
Because I was like, see, I don't know.
That's how it was. Like that's how I understand Damon. That's me with Rivali. Like it's that type of role if you end up playing with Rivali. With Rivali, I didn't even have Rivali at first. They had me practice read for him, and then we started recording, but it wasn't picking up right away. And we took a break, and I called my mentor and just sobbed over the phone because I was like, I love this role. I don't want to lose it. Like, I'm so glad you ended up getting him in the end.
Thank you so much. And it was just because Sephiroth is my favorite character from the game. I love Sephiroth a bunch. And when I went in to record, the client on the line, the Square client, asked me to keep my voice very similar to Sephiroth in the performance, which made me just super giddy, and I love it. I was just super on. I know I've been rambling, but anyway.
No, please. That's why I brought you on the show, man. Keep. I want to hear all of the story. Yeah.
Well, if you had questions.
No. I want to hear you guys talk. So I can imagine that you just moved to you moved and then go into and then you go into the audition, and
the audition I did from home. I had not gone into not been into a studio like David and Daniel are saying, like, until this, I was just doing everything at home. I have a home booth. I've been doing everything here. But because they wanted to match the audio quality of FF7R, they wanted to have it in person, and they were super, super safe about it. There was only one person per day. Everybody had their own special bathroom. And everybody was like wearing masks and everything and face shields, and it was super, super safe. But it was crazy that was my first thing here. That was in person. It's really special.
You didn't even unpack a box until you got the role, right? It's just all your boxes are just stacked up, just sitting on the floor. Like, I'm waiting for the call.
If I don't get this, I'm going back now. No, I'm just so honored, and it was such an awesome process too. And Kirk, like Sean was mentioning, is just an awesome, fun director. I'd known Kirk too a little bit. We had done some cons together and stuff, so it was fun to like see him.
It's always really good when you have a director who you immediately understand is not going to move on from a line until they get exactly what they're looking for. Because as actors, we understand everything is under a time constraint, but we've all had moments where like we do a take and they're like, all right, let's move on. And you're like, because it was a good take, right? And they're like, all right, so this is the next line. It's because it was a good take, right? So,
meme. Yeah.
But with Kirk, you would like immediately he'll be like, I like where you're going with that, but I want more of this. I want less of this. You do it again. Less, even less.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I liked about the performances of FF7 is it is not super anime. It is not super anything. It is very, very cinematic. And we, for even Weiss, we tried to pull him back and make it as subtle as possible with the deliveries. And it was so quiet on the gain that it was gained up to like max. I could hear myself blink. Like it was so sensitive. I was like, I can hear everything, so it was really weird. But I'm used to, especially even for fight efforts, because I'm used to like doing Dragon Ball Z, and I can just like, I'm like, let's go, maximum, like, and I'm like, and it's like, awesome, less, and I'm like, cool.
I can just imagine you being like lips kissing the microphone, going, huh.
Well, I mean, some of it was more intense, but even less than the Japanese, like some of the Japanese was bigger than what we did. So we're just like, no, we're just pulling it back even less. It's just we made Weiss very, it's unsettling how steady he is, and that's what I think is more terrifying than anything. I think having his calmness and collectedness, because you don't know what he's going to do, and it's unnerving.
Is you're everything, a brilliant performance by everyone here. So what I'm going to do is actually ask a question for the room, so you guys can just kind of pluck the question and say I'm going to answer it. So I love hearing like some behind the scenes stories. So and you guys have shared a few here, but does anybody else have any like funny or interesting moments that happened during the recording experience? Something that you would like to share, like whether it be, even if it's, honestly, I'm not even joking, I even love to hear the process. Like I love hearing like you go into this building, you go a couple rooms down and there's a booth, I just love hearing it all. You know what I mean? So if you have any interesting or funny stories about the process of recording for Intergrade, or just in general? We could do Intergrade, but if we want to throw like a in general,
I mean, that's part of once I understood the kind of angle I had to take for Nero as a character, what kind of helped me stay in the right mentality was repeating that line from Psycho Mantis where he goes, "You've been playing Super Mario Sunshine, haven't you?" because Psycho Mantis was the perfect example of a character who wasn't all right there in the head, but he wasn't completely insane. He was embracing the power that he had control over and using it to kind of mess with the character or mess with the player. And I'm like, that's what I need to do for Nero. He is someone who is using the power that he has. He hasn't let it possess him. He's using it to achieve his means. And so anytime that I was starting to go too crazy or too insane, I'd pull it back and just be like, "You've been playing Super Mario Sunshine, haven't you, Weiss?" Like that's how I got back.
Haven't you, Weiss? Haven't you, brother? Oh man, that's a perfect reference. I love it.
Metal Gear Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Metal Gear.
A weapon to surpass Mother.
So David, so this being one of your first video game experiences other than Genshin Impact, how are you feeling? And I know I can imagine like nerves, right? Like just going into the booth to
Well, on the one hand, and I should probably see a doctor about this, I haven't been nervous since 11th grade. Like I tried acting a lot,
right? So like you're
but I haven't, like when I was real little and I tried acting as a real little kid, I would get nervous all the time. And then once I got to high school and went into play production and did an audition for, I think it was like Christmas Kill or something, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not nervous. What's going on? And I haven't really been since. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, you can't go into the booth worried about, I'm about to do Final Fantasy 7. Oh my God, I'm going to freak this out, because it'd be very easy to do that, especially with something like this, which has such a devoted fan base, such a history. I don't want to be the one to mess it up.
Right.
But luckily I'm also old enough to be able to push all that aside and be a professional and focus on the lines. And like Kurt did a great job, like Damon said. And my side of it is also that I do work a lot in production behind the scenes. So I'm always like, the engineer is always the guy I'm trying to help out. So whenever, I don't know if he did this for you guys or not, but Kurt would be like, I would do like 3-4 different takes of the line. He says, all right, do the first half from take A and edit together the second half from take C. And then I think we got it, which on the one hand, okay, you got it. But B, did I not give it to you the way you wanted? And also now I'm making more work for the editor, so I feel like crap.
I think that's fairly normal. I mean, I do some ADR directing myself for anime, and that's very common, where there'll be something about the read from a previous part or whatever. You'll just kind of Frankenstein it and put it together, and then it'll be what it is. Even that doesn't necessarily mean the actor is wrong. It's
Right.
just, you may find some pieces of different things. You may want to see how it blends.
I mean, we all want to walk in the booth and knock out a home run every line we
Sure.
said. It's
Yeah.
not always possible to do that. So if that's the way that they get what they want, great. I'm happy
Also
to
with the
do it.
timing.
Yeah,
The timing.
with the timing of it. I just don't want to be the one thing that slows them down, or the self-doubt is big in this business. We all have it, and we all have to push through it. But they picked you for a reason. They said yes. They obviously saw something. Just give them. I try to give them as best I can, and hope I don't get fired.
Yeah. Well
I
said.
mean, he's serious. Like in this industry, most of the time, if we want feedback on whether we actually know what we're doing, it costs anywhere between $200 and $700 for a workshop for a director who's usually trained in a very specific sector of the industry to either go, yeah, you're doing great, just keep chugging along, glad to have your money, or I'm so glad you spent your money, because otherwise you would have missed out on so much more from how bad you're doing. Here's everything you're doing wrong, fix it. So
who are the guys who are doing that? Because that's actually what I'm looking for, a little bit more honest. Like, you do a lot of workshops like this, and this is going to sound horrible, but like, there's some people who might might be newer at this, who might not be as good, who get effusive praise from the direct, and that's their job, is to give positive and give feedback. And then when you get kind of the same praise, you're like, oh, wait a minute, are they lying to me?
The people who are very good at being like, that was great, that was fantastic, all right, come out, let's get the next person in it. But they do that for every single person in the class.
It's hard to get honest feedback in this business. Like, you don't get it from auditions. Hopefully you have a coach or someone that can be honest with you and say, you can do this better, do this, that. It's really hard to find.
Yeah, that makes sense. So going over to Daniel, I have a question for you from our Patreon supporter. If given the creative freedom with your character, what would you do? If you could do anything with Polk.
As a performer, or if Polk could just like go into the universe and like Polk can do whatever he wants.
Take this question and do what you will.
Well, I feel like I basically, you have a certain amount of creative freedom because you made choices in the audition, and then they hired you, so you're being hired to bring your sense of creative freedom. And then you don't have creative freedom in the sense that like you're not there editing it together afterwards. So you're basically like, your job as an actor. I think of this, and I think this has both upsides and downsides to it. But I often think of actors as trying to be paint, and then you have like the directors who are the painters. And so your job is to be as good a paint as possible. But ultimately, you're not really painting the picture. You're just trying to provide really good material for them to paint with. So that can be empowering, because you're just like, okay, like I get to be the thing on the easel. But also there's many times you're just like, wow, I'm really a soldier rather than the general. There
are times when your paint is teal, but the only reason your paint is teal is because it makes the other actor whose paint is red looks better. It makes the teal makes the red stand out more, and you have to be ready for those times when your paint is auxiliary rather than like
for
primary.
sure, because I've had this experience where I'm like, where in my mind I'm like, well, I think the paint should be red or whatever, and they're like, well, we actually don't need you to be red, like we just need you to be teal, and I'm like, all right. Or that happens if you audition for smaller roles, usually, like if you're doing a TV thing, let's say you're doing an episode of CSI and your job is to be a barista who goes like caramel macchiato, and that's literally your only line in the thing, and the lead of the show grabs their coffee and does something more important. If you come in and your read of that is like caramel macchiato, like tries to like create this whole like backstory or some sort of like he's got like a frog in his throat because he's been eating too much caramel. Like there's this whole thing, and they're like, no, we really, your whole part in this is like say the caramel macchiato and then keep it moving because it's not about you. So in those moments you do feel like, all right, well, how much creativity am I really bringing to this? But I think for the most part, it's almost like an improv exercise where you've made certain choices ahead of time, and then your job when you're actually recording is just to be impulsive and instinctual, and you're not planning stuff really ahead of time, so they'll go do it 3 times, a line 3 times in a row, and you're not going like, okay, like in the second take, I want to go up with my voice or something. You're just kind of like trying to be instinctual and impulsive and do something different so they have lots of options they can edit together. Yep. So I sort of feel like I did what I would do with open creative freedom, because that's just like all you can do. It's like they basically say, here's an hour and do whatever you want in that hour, and we'll kind of guide you, but ultimately you're the one running the race.
I'd almost argue that part of me wouldn't want to change like the way that the character is directed. Part of the fun of voice acting is, you know, as human beings, we have our own personalities, we have our own attitudes, we have things that we would enjoy doing. But part of the thrill of this industry is that we have the opportunity to portray these characters in these situations that we may otherwise never find ourselves in at any point in time. And it's almost fun in a way for, you know, you expressed a character, it's like maybe they wouldn't have this whole backstory, they'd just be simplistic, but it's almost interesting to be like, am I capable of becoming that kind of person? Am I capable of convincing people that I can play that type of role? And that in itself is its own source of fun. You know, can I be Nero without making him crazy? Can I be, you know, can Damon be Weiss without making him, you know, a power hungry tyrant? Is it possible to provide these different angles and challenge ourselves to go outside the confines of our own little comfortable box and find things in the process that we may be like, you know what? This isn't what I originally had in mind, but I want to do this more often. That was really fun to explore.
And I think you also get that just through any sort of collaboration. So when you're working with other people, their ideas are naturally going to take you to different places than you would have gone if you were completely making every decision by yourself. Right. So there is value to, like, if you're someone who's a novelist, you get to make every decision about everything that happens and you have full control. And that can be really cool because you're getting out there exactly what your internal idea of the story is. But there's also something great about improv comedy where like the idea that you may have started with gets molded and shaped by other people in the scene. So I think they both have their merits.
That's awesome. Awesome analogy. I love it. I love the paint analogy. It's really cool. It's really cool.
I
Because
like
video
that.
games are art, and just like you know, you guys. I love the paint and the paintbrush, the artist. Really cool. Vinny, do you want to ask? You want to ask one of these questions, man? Go ahead.
Sure. So from the same Patreon supporter asks, I guess this could really go out to anybody, or everyone, if you guys all want to answer. But which out of all the other Final Fantasy characters would you like to voice?
It could be any Final Fantasy, and this is from our Patreon supporter Vincent Graymore. Just wanted to make sure I said that.
This is hard. My heart says Vivi, but I actually think the younger Aaron Dismuke would have been a much better fit for that. I think of Alphonse. I think of Alphonse's voice when I think of Vivi, and I'm not up there. I'm not up there. So I can't
even with the metallic echo from being inside of the armor.
Right? No.
He used to hold up a thing, I guess, like a pan or something when he was.
That's yeah. I'll have to think on this. Someone else go.
Yeah.
That's hard. I mean, Sephiroth is kind of my favorite. I think as close as I can get with this, I think Weiss is in a good ballpark.
Right. It's
Vincent
great that they told
was
you
another
that.
one.
Sound like Sephiroth, and you're like, okay, got it.
Reno.
Reno is another one. Yeah.
Reno without a doubt.
Reno, Vincent, Rufus, Sephiroth, one of those. I love all of them. They could be.
So I couldn't do this character, but we did an interview like a week or so ago and one of the actors who played Sonon was on there, and I was just so blown away by his voice.
he's got like a natural deep voice as he's just talking. Alex Lee,
yeah. Crazy voice. So I just wish that I sounded like that, because I just found it so like, I wonder even if he does on camera stuff too, because he just has this presence that's so interesting. Yeah. So that's maybe more him than this particular role, but I would love to have that vibe in my arsenal. I just thought that he was so fascinating to listen to.
The narcissist in me would want to do Cloud because he's the lead.
There you go.
But I kind of gravitated. I could never do it. I gravitated towards Wedge because I related to that character. The actor who did that he's fantastic, and that voice he's going to be working for the next 40, 50 years. But he's also really good on camera guy. That's the type of character that I would lean towards.
Awesome. When I heard Alex Lee talk, by the way, I just wanted to go back to that. When I heard Alex Lee talk, I thought that he was voice acting for Sonon, and then when he just started regularly talking, like just with that deep, 100%. I thought he was changing the voice.
That man is as attractive vocally as he is physically.
Just soothing butter is that man's voice.
It's just a soothing utter
butter.
Like he could walk up and just in his Sonon voice be like, "I'm here to kill you, Sephiroth," and someone would be like, "Okay, yeah,
that's
all right."
That's a pretty good impression.
That's just how it be. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like there's that. I think it's an FDR quote or something. The speak softly and carry a big stick. I mean, that's basically what he does. He can get attention and bring everyone to him by just keeping his energy low, and everyone comes closer to his level rather than grabbing everyone and bringing them in. It's just an incredible ability.
Jonas Scott's also really good at that.
Jonas Scott is incredible.
We've got a whole generation of dads coming up from the ranks right now. Like there's going to be a lot of hot husbands in the near future, let me tell you.
Jonah and I just did a show together, and he's pretty great. Our whole fandom is on it.
KK, someone in chat says the man could read a cheesecake recipe and I'd be all ears.
Yeah.
But he's like combine all the ingredients into a bowl and then beat the hell out of it.
Pretty good impression.
Beat me. Yes.
All right, so
make me feel like Ethan Winters.
The last one, though. Okay. the last little part you added to it just got me. I was gone. All right. So David and Daniel, you guys dabble or not dabble? You're very invested in improv. Am I right?
Yeah.
So you can absolutely turn this down if you want. But I would just think, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's get a little bit of that improv since you guys in the game of Final Fantasy VII Intergrade Intermission DLC, you introduce the player to the addictive mini game Fort Condor. All right, and this is a board game within the world of Final Fantasy VII, and it is sweeping the nations. It is sold out everywhere. As you can hear NPCs talking about it, like I tried to get one for my daughter, but it's sold out. I can't get it. So this is a strategy board game based on a military campaign from the Shinra, in the same name location, Fort Condor. It's a two-player board game. You conquer your opponent's base and defend your own. Attackers are weak to defenders. Defenders are weak to range, and range weak to attackers. So essentially, this is an intricate rock, paper, scissors game. So what I'm going to say here is I would love for you guys to be like that infomercial type thing, trying to sell this board game to the citizens of Midgar. All right. So Also, it does. I know I can understand if you guys don't really have too much knowledge of the actual Fort Condor minigame within
Okay.
Final Fantasy.
And we're doing this together. So we're co-narrating.
You're gonna co-narrate. Yeah, you're. It's one of those
Okay, I have an idea.
What is that channel where they're just trying to sell things?
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
I have an idea. I'm gonna take it in a slightly different direction. All right, David, you ready?
Yeah, do
Yes,
it.
take it
I'll
wherever
follow.
you want to go with it.
All right. All right. You have to imagine like where we go with it because we're obviously just using our voices. Okay.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm bored. I have nothing to do this summer.
I know. How about Fort Condor?
Whoa! This game is awesome! Come on, Dad, let's go play!
Sure, son. Which side do you want to be?
I want to be on the left side.
Okay, careful now. Don't take my Phoenix.
Uh-oh!
Is that right?
Your Phoenix is dead.
Oh, good game, son. Here's some materia. So sorry. I'm so
Thanks,
sorry.
Dad. You're my favorite.
You're up there.
Happy Father's Day.
Battery sold separately.
I'm so sorry.
You're my favorite dad.
It said Shinra tested, mother approved.
Okay.
Very good.
Excellent job, guys. Thank you so much for that.
So sorry.
It was beautiful. I was trying
From
so
the
hard.
company that brought you Genovanopoly.
The first thing they teach you in improv is turn off your internal judge. Don't judge what you're doing. And I did not do
Oh,
that.
dude, it was
Instantly,
great.
you were like, I'm so sorry.
God, I'm so sorry.
Is that a thing? I love it though.
God.
It made it. It was perfect.
I never apologized right after giving a line before.
It was
I
perfect.
don't apologize. I just kind of look up at the director through the window with those like golden retriever eyes. Like, please don't tell me I screwed up. I did good, right? I get pets. Please put the treat in the pool.
But here's the skill of Daniel is that whatever I gave him, he took it and ran with it. Like that's, you're joking, but it's honestly serious. Is to be able to listen to your partner and everything's a gift.
Well,
And he took the trash I put out and he made.
Oh, dude, it was great.
David,
Beautiful
I was very inspired by your character, Reluctant Dad. So
Yeah.
I really felt like you gave me a lot there.
Yeah. You
He's
were
the
kind of a
dad.
mistake, son.
He's the dad who he actually doesn't know anything about this game, but this is his first chance to connect with his son ever since the event at the summer camp a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard.
He has his son on weekends, so he's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna make it the best he can.
Yeah.
David,
Son, you are adopted.
David, do you know the
Dad?
Sonon, his voice sounds better.
do you know the Boom Goes the Dynamite guy? That
Yeah.
video? That
Yeah.
that reminded me so much of that when he goes and boom goes the dynamite and then he looks at the camera and he goes, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was me. I'm
Damon
so
and
sorry.
Sean, you guys got a little something special for you as well.
Oh no! How are we supposed
Your
to follow
turn.
that?
We set the
Your
bar
turn.
low.
Well, this is
You're gonna be careful with this one.
you can improv all you want. If you guys wanted to be an improv, go for it. But what I actually had a little something different. It's
Okay.
kind of a staple here on Final Fan TV, where I have the voice actors replace words in dialogue that they actually say in the game. All right, so this is kind of Mad Libs, but with your character.
Is this
So
gonna be
what I'm gonna do?
like in our chat in Zoom or something, or where are we gonna see this?
Oh, so I'm gonna once I have you guys replace the words, I'll send it to you in Zoom,
Okay.
the Zoom chat, and then you will read it off in the voices of your characters.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna ask for some words real quick. Vinny, are you on the document right now?
I am.
Okay, cool. Can you replace the words as I ask for them, please?
Replace them in the document?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So first thing I want to need is a verb.
It won't let me edit. Hold on.
So you can do you can give me just the most ridiculous words that you can,
Okay,
because that's
you
what
can
makes
start,
it more
Damon.
fun.
Alphabetical order.
It won't let me edit the document.
That's fine.
So
I got it.
I'm gonna I was gonna just do it in the chat.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so give me like the most ridiculous words that you can give me. So a verb.
I don't know. Wait, that's not a verb. God, what verb? Sean, you go.
Yeah, improv not so easy.
Yeah.
Guys.
Take that, guys. Take that.
No, we're noun people. We're noun
We're
people.
noun
We're
people.
like descriptions.
I'm like, you need to give me the script, otherwise I'm just useless.
We always say this, that
It
it is
dabbing,
so hard.
dabbing.
Obfuscate.
Or dab.
Try this. Obfuscate
Dabbing or dab.
as a verb. Obfuscate.
there's another verb.
This is
coming up.
my game.
Sorry, muting.
It's my birthday, Dad.
Tomorrow.
It's my birthday, Dad. All right, now I need a noun.
Bubblegum.
Bubblegum. All right. And then another noun.
Sean.
Mimosa.
Okay. And another noun, but plural.
Platypus.
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 Platypi.
Platypi. Yeah.
Nero.
Platypi.
Nero.
Is it platypi or platypuses? It's good.
I think
Nero
it's
just
platypi.
sees someone approaching him. A platypus. You see the platypus. And it's just Yuffie with like a duckbill going.
I don't even know that. So is it platypuses or platypi? What is?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's platypi. Hold on, I'll check, but keep going.
I'm just gonna say platypuses because that's
got
funny.
platypus.
Platypus.
So I need an adverb. So this describes a verb.
Uh,
It usually
Fee.
ends in ly. Huh?
Floofy.
Luffy?
Floofy.
Luffy.
Floofily. No, wait. No.
Instead of fluffy, floofy. Just
Luffy.
So adverb would be like floofily.
floofily. Oh,
Floofily.
floofily. Yeah. It's
So
floofily.
you could say platypuses or platypodes.
Platypus.
Platypodes.
Platypodes. All right.
Platypodes.
Platypus. Platypus.
Okay. All right. So I got platypodes. Now I need a verb. There's only a few more left.
You ended that with an upward inflection. I was waiting
I
for
know,
more.
right? I thought I had more to say, but no, I just need a verb.
All right, we'll put in obfuscate in loving memory of my late dad.
Please excuse my spelling when you get this in the chat. Obfuscate. Got it. All right. Thank you, Google. Got me corrected there. Okay. So, oh wait. Yeah, that actually works because obfuscate is something you do to someone, right? All right. So I need another verb that you do to someone.
Slap. I don't know.
Pressure. To try out the free trial, Final Fantasy 14, which comes with an expansion to Heavensward.
So, I'm gonna combine those two. So it's gonna be pressure slapping.
Pressure slapping. Yeah, pressure slapping. There we go.
All right. And then obfuscate again, and then we need actually one more or two more things. A span of time.
1,000 years.
1,000 years, and then end it with a verb.
Discount.
All right, so I'm going to send this to you, and I have it labeled as Weiss and Nero, so you guys know your lines. And then, so let me send this to you.
This is going to make about as much sense as Crisis Core did.
All right, I'm sending it to the chat right here. If you guys want to be like surprised, then you shouldn't look at it like it, you know.
No matter what, it's still going to be a better plot element than Genesis. So.
Oh God. Floofy. Yeah, they're telling me I spelled floofy wrong, but you know what? I think it's it. I think that's fine. All right. I go through.
All right, shall we begin? Dab well.
Weiss, this is a bubblegum. To what do I owe the mimosa?
These platypodes want to floof the obsica team. Can't read. So I'm pressure slapping them.
when will Shinra learn? There is no obfuscating you. They ought to know better.
Looking forward to this.
I am. Just like my Steam account. It has been 1,000 years since my last discount.
Wonderful.
Very great.
Oh my god. I was like, I can't.
There is no obfuscating you. Thank you for doing that. Awesome, and it was actually a privilege to hear your voices on this set, like the your Weiss and Nero performance.
Camicia, if you're confused, I would re-listen to the scene. This is very important to the next installment of the Kingdom Hearts mobile game.
That's this is it. You start your theory breakdowns right now. Weiss's pressure slap.
That actually was one of the biggest spoilers for what happens next in the story.
That's it, man. We just did it right there.
Broke all the NDAs.
We broke all the NDAs as Weiss is going to pressure slap some platypodes.
Oh,
What color were those platypodes?
Magenta.
Were they purple?
Magenta.
Oh, magenta. Close to
Magenta.
purple.
All right. Well, with that being said, I have successfully kept this within an hour. Unless if you guys want to keep on going.
No, I have a live dub in 3 hours, and last week that tore my throat up. So
go prepare for that. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Daniel, David, Sean, and Damon. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this show. I hope you had a lot of fun here on Final Fan TV.